Hello and welcome everyone. So I'm going to do a brief video here on vitamin D. I've done some videos in the past, but I'm going to go a little more in depth with this video. So towards the end of the video I'll give you some more suggestions and the best way to get vitamin D and how to really make sure that your body activates that hormone by doing it the correct way. So basically these are some foods that have vitamin D in it. And if you're trying to detoxify your body, these foods are obviously not recommended. But there's always a time where people want to take a break. And I'm real big on using some high quality animal products that come from foods, not from artificial sources. I really wouldn't suggest using dairy. Most dairy is all fortified and it's very high in omega-6. And the mass-produced industry that does this really is very unhealthy. And you could say, well, I'll just get higher quality dairy. Well, they're still going to have to fortify it pretty much. So dairy is not the best way I would suggest. I mean, if it's something you want to do, that's up to you. Mushrooms, another way. It's a fungus. I don't suggest it at all. I don't even eat mushrooms. Some people, they love mushrooms. But again, this can cause a lot of problems, especially if you eat too many of these. They're just not the best. There are higher quality mushrooms out there, such as, reishi or shiitake. Those mushrooms are definitely higher quality than these white mushrooms that grow from the ground, because the other ones grow on trees. They're much better for your health. They're a little more expensive as well. But either way, this is not something I would suggest for vitamin D. Oils, I definitely don't suggest. When it comes to eggs, the egg yolk is definitely got some vitamin D in it. It's a very high quality egg. It's a pastured egg, meaning that it's higher than cage-free. And basically the chicken is going around, roaming around, eating bugs and all the stuff it naturally does year-round, not 6 months and then 6 months thrown in a cage and they throw some soy and corn and whatever else they do, and then inject the chicken with hormones and antibiotics because it gets sick and they want it to grow faster. That's not what I'm talking about here. And soft boil 2 or 3 minutes is what I do, and that's where the yolk is raw, and you can use that. And from time to time I will use eggs that way. I won't do it totally raw, but I definitely make sure I use a high quality egg, which is a pastured egg. And again, dairy I just touched base on. That's not something I would suggest. Same thing with yogurt. Fish is one of the best ways from food if it's wild. For example, wild Alaskan salmon. I've been talking about this for a long time. Somebody wants to take a break from their detox and they want to eat fish for a couple days or even a week. Look for the wild Alaskan salmon. It is something that has very high omega-3 to omega-6. That's what you want. If you purchase farm salmon, it will be higher in omega-6 versus omega-3. It is the opposite. So pretty much all Atlantic salmon is all farmed, no matter what they say. Alaskan salmon, king salmon, those are really the only wild ones that are left. Just because this is so popular, that's why it's so expensive. However, at Trader Joe's the other day, I was able to purchase some wild salmon, a pound of it, wild Alaskan salmon, for $11. So they are out there if you can get them certain times of year, and that's usually when I'll snatch it up and eat some. Sardines would be my next choice. Sardines a lot of people may not like, but they're loaded with vitamin D, calcium, omegas, omega-3s as I mentioned, DHA, EPA, which all fish pretty much has, fatty fish. So this is what people are lacking. They're trying to supplement, even if they're not eating a raw diet, trying to detox. They basically omit these foods from their diet. They eat a lot of chicken, which I'll do a whole video on that, why you shouldn't even eat that. It's garbage. So if you're going to eat any type of animal product, these are the ones that you should do. Egg yolk, sardines, and wild Alaskan salmon are the best ones that you can put in your body. Now, you might be wondering, okay, James, what if I don't want to eat those foods? What if I just refuse. I want to be a vegan or vegetarian the rest of my life. Okay, that's fine. That's up to you, and everyone's entitled to what they want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I have nothing against anyone that wants to do that. Just as I go on my time where I may be 100% wrong, there's times where I won't. It just varies. But vitamin D supplements can help. The problem is most of them are synthetic, and you got to really know the dosage of what you need to take. I can't give you that information because I don't know. It could be anywhere from 5,000 international units or maybe even 8,000 if you're really looking for a lot of high performance and you're working out a lot. So that's the problem with vitamin D supplements. You would have to get a test done and find that out and how much you need and kind of go from there. So that is an option if you live in an area where you're in an igloo, and there's no sun at all. You might not be able to get enough vitamin D from the sun. But this is the best way. As I just mentioned before, the dosage from vitamin D supplements can vary depending on your body and what you need. But the sun is pretty self-explanatory. You can't overdose from the sun. You can from vitamin D supplements, of course. Any supplement you can. That is for vitamin purposes, because the body doesn't really recognize that as well as when you go in the sun. But for the sun to be effective, you have to have your forehead open, bare skin, and your stomach. That's typically where it's absorbed. So if you come home and you start, taking a shower right after the sun, that may not be the best thing. Go in the sun for about 10 or 15 minutes, and you're most likely to get about 10,000 international units, depending on your skin type. If you have really fair skin, you may only need 10 minutes, for example. So if you're a male, have your shirt off. Female, you can have your stomach showing. People at the beach, they're wearing bikinis, and people naturally have their shirts off. Now, I also want to mention that you want to have about 60%, no less than 50% of your skin showing. So you got your stomach and your forehead exposed, but you can't be all clothed the rest of it. The sun has to be able to hit into your skin to be able to activate this hormone vitamin D. That's what it is. So keep that in mind. Sunblock is a big no-no. I'll have to do a whole separate video on this, but for example, sunblock is something that actually gets into the bloodstream. It goes through the skin into the bloodstream. So those chemicals from the sunblock to block the sun, which you don't want to do, can actually get into your bloodstream. Doesn't sound too good to me. And I already know this, but they came out with this a while ago, and every now and then there's some articles on it, but I'll have to do a separate video on that. So sun is my best choice. And if you're looking at muscle building, you definitely need vitamin D, whether it's supplementation from the sun, foods you're not really going to get enough. There's no way to get 5,000 international units in food, but in order to build muscle, one of the key vitamins is vitamin D. Of course, you're going to need vitamin A. You're going to need calcium. You're going to need phosphorus. You're going to need pretty much potassium. I mean, anything else you're going to need. But vitamin D is really going to help build. And obviously, this is probably not the best example to show everyone, because building this type of muscle is gonna take a while for anyone, unless they're using some type of compound or compounds to enhance the process much faster. But if that's what somebody wants to do, that's up to them. But I'm always looking at the natural way, because the natural way is the best way once you know what to do. But food-wise, definitely can help. It doesn't hurt, especially with the DHA, EPA, so keep that in mind. Any questions, go ahead and let me know. And I'll be looking at doing some future videos if I get enough comments for certain topics. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.